probably ain't running GPS. I think that's gonna plant like a dream tomorrow. Ripping out my end rows here. Been ripping them last because I don't like bouncing over that and hacking it back down when I turn. It's been a long day. We got 40, so you got 12 and 32. What's that? 44 acres ready. Them little old lights we put on the front of the 4650 made a difference. We're having to rip this farm because, see all them tracks? We had some lime spread here, and there's several, lots of tracks from the lime spreading truck, so we're having to bust this compaction up. This is about as close to heaven as you can get without going on old ground, good and smooth, mellow. It sure is pretty back there behind that planter. down here in a little 18-acre creek bottom, and hoping for big things out of this farm. Planted monitors showing 31,500 is what I'm planting on this. Planting a new corn, cropland 5682. Got the Tricepta trait in it. If y'all remember the test plot we planted last year in the dark, that was one of them that was in it. It was an experimental number last year in the plot, and we were able to get our hands on a few bags. Being I plant a lot of cropland and do a lot of testing for them, I can normally get my hands on a few of them Deere hybrids. We're gonna try to push this corn pretty hard. We saw some phenomenal numbers out of this farm in 2021 when it was in corn. 2021 was the corn, 2022 was wheat and double crop beans. We had a phenomenal wheat crop off of it, but the beans, that was the drought, so it didn't hardly make as good of beans. And then last year, 2023, we had full season soybeans down here, and they done really well. They were real bad green stem though. They was making good beans, but my goodness, I think I cut this 18 acres. I'm not sure I ever saw over 2 mile an hour. It's the beatingest darn thing I've ever seen. The beans checked 12, but it looked like silage coming out of the combine, back into the combine. But we ripped this farm here. We had to lime it this winter, and the lime trucks tracking over it. They wasn't tracking down, but they was leaving cleat marks, so we decided to rip it, get rid of any compaction they might have caused. It wasn't bad down here in the bottom. That dang marker track there, cut a little more of a marker track than I should have. It's amazing the way this bottom didn't call but for 1 ton of lime, and that hill needed 3 tons. So we did what it said. We put 1 ton on this bottom and 3 ton on the hill, hoping that'll make a difference. Go on and get these nutrients more available for the corn to take up. Then we put a pretty hefty dose of potash on it. This farm, this bottom, I guess because we've been pulling such big bean crops off of it, had gotten low on potash. Because we've pulled some big yields off this bottom down here. The first year we ever worked this, it was like CRP type ground. It was growed up, little sapling trees and stuff. And I thought I was never going to get this thing planted. I ended up with that 496 disc I got. I folded the wings up on it and pulled it with the wings folded up to be able to cut through the side. punched a hole in the sprayer tire over here with the stop. It was just it was a real mess. But that fall, when we got done cutting the beans and they made 68 bushels an acre, I was like, well, maybe it was worth it. This bottom used to stay real wet, so we would used to have to plant the hill and then come back and plant this in May. You can see the lay of the land here. That's the hill. That's that hill up there. And then this is the bottom down here we're planting in. But we'll have to bring the PTO ditcher over here and freshen them up, but there's a drainage ditch there. It circles around and goes through there. Then there's a drainage ditch right there. It goes over to them 2 pipes we put in last spring when we was trying to plant beans down here. We're actually going to be able to get it all planted together this year. And that's going to make it work out a lot better. Before, I've been having to have curved rows right here, but these rows will run up right there behind that pond. I know this because I done it with a ripper yesterday, but they'll run right up in here, and then we'll get up here next to the road and have our AB line there, and we'll have a set of inroads right in there, if that makes sense. But I got my fertilizer spread out in front of the ripper, hoping that ripper stir that fertilizer in a little bit. And of course we hit it twice with that scratcher do-all, and hoping we got our fertilizer better incorporated than we normally do. Which we've always kind of worked the flat ground, but we've been taking that ripper and busting some of these old hills open, because matter of fact, what I ripped the dang hills, you know, we've worked this wet trying to get it to air before. You know, I thought it would be as hard as a rock, but the dang hill up there is actually harder than this. But you know, I was afraid when we started ripping that it'd make the ground wash, but we've actually seen the opposite. We've actually seen less washing, because the water, instead of running off the hill, that old hard ground ain't absorbing no water, you know. And when we've run that ripper across it, we've watched that water start soaking in. A matter of fact, you know, we've gotten about 2 big rains this spring, and I'll be coming into work and see some of them farms, water will be ponded on the field and the sediment basins will be full of water. And then I went and looked at where we had ripped, and no water running off the field, and and there might be a puddle of water in the sediment basin. It's pretty eye-opening when you get a shovel and dig, and when you see the roots on the plant and ripped ground versus unripped. But it's plenty loose though. You can feel this tractor squirming in your pants seat. You can feel him. You can feel where that ripper run. Old tractor kind of squirming around. That old sole's loose, boy. But it sure is planting good. So I'm gonna jump off here and enjoy the rest of these good long rows, or longer rows, and enjoy them before I get up here on this hill and got to plant with all these dang terraces. Walking back here to my tractor. Robert's up there on the hill. That's where the planter and scratcher do all this. I like just a little bit of ripping in this field, and then I think that's where we're going to call it quits on the ripping for the year. Everything else will be minimum till. But right here is the side of an old hill, and I was just going to show you, instead of running that ripper down the hill, I turned and run it crossways the hill so that water ain't getting in the ripper track and running down that hill. It's just little things like that. You kind of got to use your head if you're gonna rip, you know. But that'll slow that water down coming off that hill and let it soak in instead of trying to run down the hill into the ditch. But you want to talk about some hard ground, this is it. Which we've got rain since we spread our fertilizer on this farm, but every now and then you'll see a granule still on top of the ground, and that's what we're trying to eliminate. We're wanting to mix that fertilizer into the ground instead of it just sitting here on the soil surface prone to runoff. So hopefully we're going to get it stirred into the soil pretty good. Come over the crest of the hill and there's the 4650. That's our weight behind it. We sprayed fungicide on it Monday. Today is Thursday. Gotten a lot done. Well, I say we've gotten a lot done. It's just been, it's slow go running the ripper, guys. Especially the way I'm fixing to have to do this hill contouring it. We'll sit here and let it warm up a minute and then we'll get to work. Get her done, Robert. Looking mighty pretty. old do-all has gotten to work out. I tell you what, that darn ripping is time consuming, but it is worth it. All this, he ripped this and worked it down once. And he said it's working up nice. I'll tell you, I was no-till. I was dang near 100% no-till except some flat ground. We would scratch some flat ground and work it. But piss on trying to plant all that corn in the mud. Yeah, we're burning some diesel, but you know what? I'd rather burn a little diesel and have it done right. Well, I can plant this in the morning if it don't rain too much tonight.